Hey, welcome back to the channel. On this one, I'm going to be going over some static cling window privacy film. So we went with this lattice pattern. I've already done a few windows. The instructions are pretty vague. I watched a couple of other videos on how to install it. And while the way they show you works, it was a pain. Especially if you're a little OCD and you want, no bubbles and you want it to fit nicely. So in this video, I'm going to go over how to install it. I'll show you the product I use. There's tons of designs for tints and patterns, but that's up to your choice. But I'll show you how this product I got installs. Alright, so I'm doing this little window in my laundry utility room today. I've already done the kitchen and the bathroom. But it overlooks the neighbor's house and their windows look right in here. There were blinds here. I'm not a fan of blinds. They just collect dust. I got rid of them. Might do a little curtain, just small curtain at the top. But I want to put privacy film on this bottom one. So first step, clean your window real good. That's pretty straightforward. I'm just using some spray glass cleaner for that and a microfiber towel. So window is clean, or is it? So this is where you have to pay close to some details here. So just give your window a feel. Like there's a few splotches of like paint and some stuck on stuff. For that, just using like a razor scraper. Oh, you can see that. It's gonna be hard for you to see it, but just give your glass a feel. Anything that's hard or dried on, you can use a little razor scraper to get off and then clean it one more time. Also, in my case, I had this problem with the other two windows. I have some like adhesive sealant or silicone that's coming out into the corners of my frames. So I'm also going to take a razor and clean all that so I have a nice flat clean surface all the way around. Corners is where it's a problem. Also in my windows, they have like little built outs from the seam, so I can't get a perfect edge in there. So I'm having to trim like a little relief in each of the corners of my film to get it to lay flat. And it's important that you get the corners perfectly flat and there's no dirt or debris, because it won't seal the corner properly, which lets air in, and you'll have air bubbles in there, and you'll try to push them out and they'll keep coming back. So let's do some scraping and cleaning of this adhesive in some of the corners. So there you can see some of that adhesive glue that I've got out with a razor. So make sure you pay attention to those details, or the film's going to piss you off when you try to install it. Alright, I'm going to clean everything up one more time with the glass cleaner again. Round of cleaning is done. I'm happy. I don't see any dirt in my corners or any problems. Next step is I'm going to use some rubbing alcohol or isopropyl on my microfiber, just a little bit, and clean it with the rubbing alcohol just to get any like grease from your hands or oils while you were working on it completely off. Alright, next get your accurate measurements for your window. 2 1/4, 16 5/8. Okay, and this is the part that I found really annoying. It tells you to cut 1 inch bigger than your dimensions in both dimensions, and then you're going to attach it, and then you have to razor out all the corners. But when you have this big 1 inch overlap, it is so hard. Let me see if I can show this. It's really difficult to get your razor in here and mush the film in and get a nice corner. I ruined a couple pieces on my first try. So I recommend cutting your dimension exact at least 2 of the 3 sides, and then leave like 1 or maybe 2 sides to trim. So you can get this side flush, this side flush, and that corner good, and then you can work your way down, and then you'll have like this edge and the bottom edge to cut, because you can get your razor in the matching edges already. That's my biggest tip, I think. That made installing it way easier. But let's go cut the film. It's pretty easy. As for cutting your film, it's pretty straightforward. I'm just rolling it out here on the table. Measuring what I need for my width. And they have these nice little 1x1 grid lines to help you make straight cuts. So I'm just going to cut along the grid initially, and I'm just cutting on the nearest grid line. I found that's easier. And then any little adjustments to my sizing I'll do after I get the main piece cut. So what I've done here is I also use the lines as a reference to cut my exact dimension in this way. And then in my side-to-side dimension, I have maybe a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch tops, a little bit longer, so I can line up one end and then cut the other and adjust it. So since I know this side is correct and I'm just cutting this corner, I'm also going to cut little corners off. Just a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. I'm cutting the point of the corner out slightly. You might not have to do this for your window, but the window isn't perfect and there's like stuff in the corners. So I cut those, and it's easier to get the corners lined up without it bunching up on the corner and causing air bubbles. Alright, and the next part is just to peel the backing off. The directions just tell you to wash your hands and try not to touch it, but I'm going to put on nitrile gloves with no powder before we remove this apart. It also comes with little stickers that you can stick on each side to help you peel it, but you can get it started with your hands pretty well. But let me get the gloves on. I forgot to mention, I'm also, before I take the backing piece off, like I walked over here to do this and I forgot I hadn't mentioned it on film yet. So I am test fitting the piece. So I have the fitment I want top to bottom, and it's just a tad long and just this one side, which will be easy for me to trim with the razor. Alright, so now get gloves on, get this peeled, and then we'll spray down with soapy waters. The direction says 6 drops of dish soap per liter of water or quart. I'm using filtered or bottled water so I don't get like hard water stains in the water that could get behind the film or any of that stuff. Alright, I already have the gloves on and the corner peeled, but the backer is not peeled off the film yet. So I'm basically ready to start spraying. And soapy water goes on. Let's get good coverage. Alright, I'm going to peel the back off right now. Be careful not to touch where you pulled the backer off because it's very staticky. See how it clung to the window there? Get it basically in place. And then again, I know I'm going to be a little long on this edge. I'm going to peel that edge up and try to get this edge in. I'm just going to check for even gaps. Now you don't want it perfectly flush on all the corners, just as even as you can get it. Alright, that looks good. Alright, and I just have this little bit of overlap on this side to cut with the razor. So I'm not even, it's basically flat. I'm not trying to push any soap or water bubbles out yet. But for this method, I'm going to use 2 putty knives to hold it and scrape it with the razor, so I'll show you that. I'm going to try to hold this side that I have fully aligned. I'm going to use the bigger putty knife to just get up into the corner with like an even gap. And then I'm going to actually use the putty knife to hold the film flat, and then get my box cutter or razor blade to slice. And then I have to move down and do the same. Try to use that same gap line up where I just cut. Hold it flat. And then you can come in and pry the pieces off the side that you just cut. so I didn't get the little corner. Peel that off. Now it looks like in all corners it's laying flat. Now this little corner is touching the corner of that and it's not going to lay flat. And I know I didn't cut a relief in this corner, so I'm going to pull it out real quick and grab the scissors and cut that same little relief in this corner. Alright, peel this back. Careful not to get this little piece you caught stuck behind. A little more. Alright, I think that's going to work good. So now we can start getting all the soapy water out. Then I have it in where I want. And you have time to still adjust this as you're getting it out. And I'm just going to use the putty knife. You can use a squeegee or whatever to work all this soapy water out to the sides and the bottom. And then periodically, as you're squeegeeing the water out, it's going to come out on the sides and the bottom. So just take your cloth and go ahead and clean up some of the water you're squeegeeing out as you go. And then start working on the little bubbles, push them all out. This takes probably 5-10 minutes to get them all out. Alright, I'm all done squeegeeing out. Probably took me about 6-7 minutes. Again, this stuff is static cling, so there's no glue or adhesive. So at any time, if you're not happy with the product you got, you can easily put pressure on a corner and peel this off and clean it in soapy water and reapply it. So, but I'm happy with what I got. And like I said, I'm a little OCD, so I got like 99% of it looking good enough for me. But there you can see how it looks during the day. So just some privacy. I'm really tall, so I can see over. But you know, frosted privacy film. I really like it. It's a nice look. And again, there's lots of different patterns to suit your taste. But I'll show some pictures from inside and outside of the privacy film. Oh, I forgot the other thing to mention. So this stuff is also UV. So like it'll help block and protect the stain on this wood trim and stuff like that. Block some of the UV. But yeah, pretty forgiving stuff. It's durable and robust. Like it's not super thin, it's thick, and you can scrape it with those metal spatulas and it doesn't damage it at all. So pretty happy with the product. But let's cut in some day and nighttime shots before and after. Alright, that wraps up all the shots of it. For this privacy frost film or tint, you can get it, like I said, different styles for whatever suits you. But I'll leave the exact one I used if you're interested in getting it. Again, I got it on Amazon. Hope those tips and tricks were helpful to help your install go nice and easy and you don't get frustrated. I know the first one I did, I was getting pretty frustrated. But that one went super smooth as you saw it go on. Alright, thanks for watching this one. Alright, bye.